Now we're going to move to our next speaker, which is Kim Hu. Are you there, Kim? Hello. I put on my
Hello.
special apron for you.
Yeah, and I have it here too.
So welcome. I'm very glad that you'll be able to share with us what you and Paul have been working on in the past few years.
Yes,
And of
absolutely.
course, it's the perfect reference for Labor Day. So I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. I will share my screen. Okay. Cool. Can everyone see it right now? Yeah. Okay. So hi, my name is Kim Hu, and I'm the co-founder of About a Worker. So About a Worker is a design studio I founded with Paul Boulenger back in 2017. And it started when I was a student at the Design Academy of Eindhoven in the Netherlands. And for my 4 years of education, I was interested in finding out what could be some new system of production and creation system within the fashion industry. And something I realized over my little experiments and also my first experiences in the fashion industry is the fact that it's a collaborative world, but at the same time, the fashion works kind of produce and create clothes in a sort of hierarchical system where there is no communication between the different actors of the industry. So what I wanted to do for About a Worker was to connect the many actors of the fashion industry, but especially understand workers' voices. So today, there are workers worldwide, everywhere in the world, producing clothes for European brands, for Asian brands today, etc. But we never hear workers' voice when we are trying to find out new system, new alternatives of production. And so I decided to create this studio with my friend Paul in order for the workers to have a voice. And for us, and through my education, I realized that design could be not only a tool for aesthetic, but could also be a tool of universal communication, which could link people together and which could give an opportunity for debate as well. Um, so we started our first collection in Saint-Denis in a factory called Modestime. And it's a factory where they usually hire people in social difficulties, such as refugees as well. And so the first collection, which was made and designed in France, was made and designed by refugees. I'm just going to try to go on the next slide. And in order for the workers to be able to design clothes as they've never had this opportunity to do so, I created a sort of design initiation. So it's some design exercises which will give them the ability to design clothing, but not to design beautiful clothing only, but clothing which could actually tell their stories and which could tell their own message. So we went for the Saint-Denis collection through 4 different steps. The first one, which was kind of a meeting step where we got to interview them, ask them about their daily life, ask them about their surrounding, how did they feel in France, etc. And then came up a more visioning step where in order to create mood boards, we asked them to take pictures of their environment, their working environment through textures and patterns that they could find within their factory. After this, we asked them to create illustration, which could be put on clothes, displayed on clothes, but this illustration didn't only have an aesthetic side, it especially had a communication side as well. And it was a way for the workers to express how they arrived in France and how did they arrive in the fashion industry. At the end of the session, we asked them to create some prototypes. And through these prototypes, they had to deconstruct and reconstruct a blue overall. So the bleu de travail, which is really the French uniform, the symbol of the workers, but they were asked actually to showcase their identity through their craft and the whole process, the whole creative process that they had learned over the 6 months working together. Yes, okay. So as you see, these are the final clothes that the workers designed and made. And for them, what was quite interesting is that it was the first time that they felt listened in a French context. So this initiation was not only a way for the workers to discover the job of a designer and what he had to go through, but it was especially a way for them to feel listened, feel accepted by the French society. And we know that there are so many segregation problem in France and integration problem as well. And that was a way to feel integrated as well within their factory, but especially within the French context. So as a brother worker, what's really important for us is not only to create initiation and ask the workers to design clothes, it's actually to display their work and showcase the quality of their work too. So in order to showcase the collection, we first created a performance where the models were actually became actually the messengers of the workers. We asked 12 models to learn the sentences of the worker that they had say during the interview. So whenever the public would come and watch the clothes and discover the clothes, the model would say one of the statements from the workers, which was a way to create a link, to build a link between the workers and the public. We also create some installations, some immersive installation where we showcase the reality behind the creative process. So the public is able to discover by himself the creative process by opening boxes, by sitting at the table of the workers and discovering his interview or his creative process. And we also were invited after the graduation show and the Milan Design Week to the Beaux-Arts de Paris for an exhibition commemorating 1968. And the workers actually became teachers at the Beaux-Arts de Paris for 2 weeks, where they taught their craft to the public. And that was a way for the workers to feel valued and showcase their craft and create a direct link with the young audience and the probable leader of tomorrow's next industry as well. After the Saint-Denis collection, we were invited to take part in an exhibition in Venice called Venice Design. So it was a 6 month exhibition happening during the Venice Biennale. And for the occasion, we decided not to showcase the Saint-Denis collection there, but to actually create an on-site collection. And so we started trying to find some old craftsmen from Venice, and we realized that there were not that many anymore. But we found a new alternative, a new production alternative, which was inside of the prison of the Giudecca, which is a women prison, where there is actually a couture workshop and where the women from the prison are able to create costume for carnivals. So over their years in prison, they have this ability to actually explore the craft of becoming a couture maker and actually create clothes which will be sold during the carnival. So for this collection, we collaborated with four women. And instead of asking the women to tell their stories because they didn't really want to, we actually asked them to reflect on their own identity. So when we arrived in prison with Paul, my associate, what we really found interesting was the fact that the women weren't feeling bad because they were in prison and like in a sort of box, but that they constantly felt observed and their identity was always in denial because they constantly felt observed by their guard and they weren't really taken as a human being. They were all kind of alienated as prisoners in some ways. So we turned around the whole initiation For the women to actually reflect on their identity, we asked them to create masks reflecting their characters. We asked them to paint, to draw, to finally create a textile mask with old fabric. We also had this opportunity to collaborate with whle, which is a weaving house from Venice, and they gave us a lot of stocks of fabric in order to create the collection. So the collection was actually designed with upcycled fabric from Venice as well. This is the final pieces that the women's made. And as you see, they all detain their own identity, their own characters, and they really created their own personas onto the lace maker outfits from Burano. So for each collection, as you saw with Venice, we always try to find a local uniform that we can use as a base for the workers to be able to express themselves and showcase their identity, showcase their strength, but also showcase how they can transform this identity of workers into something more personal. To showcase the Venice collection, so as I was saying, we showcased the final prototype at the Palazzo Michele, so during this exhibition, which lasted for 6 months. And then we also did an opening in Paris at EP7, where we were able to create a video installation showcasing the whole process of the workers through kind of like surveillance cameras, but instead of seeing the crimes of the prisoner, you would see actually their creativity and their talent. And we also invited some singers and performers of a French troupe specialized in the Commedia dell'arte, so which is really this theater, this Italian Venetian theater theme, which gives the actors the ability to express themselves not only through the voice but through expression too. And we asked these 4 singers to reinterpret the writing of the prisoners by singing. After these 2 collections, we obtained a partnership with La Redoute. So La Redoute is a French brand, really well known for years for also their collaboration with designers. They've done collaboration with Yves Saint Laurent in the past, with Yoshi Yamamoto, etc. And they give the ability to designers to explore how they can how a designer can design clothes for a massive public and at a cheaper price. But this time, since a couple of years, they've started like asking young designers to join their design process, and we were able to collaborate with their logistic workers. So logistic workers are the people packing up our clothing and our package every day, and I think there are actually people who are even more at the bottom of the chain than garment workers, and we even don't hear we don't hear much about them at all, and maybe even less than garment workers. And so we're able to collaborate with 5 workers, and they created the collective collections together. What was really interesting is that most of them had 30 years of experiences at La Redoute, and even their grandfather, their grandparents were part of La Redoute, but they had never entered into the creative studios of La Redoute. So that was the first time that they were able to meet other actors of their own industry inside of their company. So this is some pictures of the process behind the La Redoute collection. So the brief we had was to create a ready-to-wear collection, but we decided to start the collaboration by asking the workers to reflect on their usual working clothing, what they usually wear, and they don't have a uniform, but they have some sort of security clothing that they have to wear every day, such as a yellow jacket, which we had to change in orange because when we released the collection, it was really like straight during the yellow jacket movement. So we had to change the whole color themes. But yeah, we asked them to reflect on their usual clothing that they have to wear inside of their company. And at the beginning, we started talking about practicity, and we asked them to add pockets, add zips, add some more comfortable elements to them. And their statement was actually that they didn't really want to create practical clothing. They wanted to create clothing that they could wear at work, but where they would feel comfortable with. And comfort started with elegance. When we look at what people wear who are outside of the logistics chain at La Redoute are usually in tuxedo and uniform, and tuxedo and quite business uniform, which is not the same in the logistics center. And so they kind of wanted to feel at the same place too. And so we created a collection which was at the same time practical, but which could be valuing them in their daily life as well, and which where they could feel near the other actors of La Redoute too. So we created, so to showcase the collection, we actually did an exhibition before the one we did with Lee at Lee Design, and we showcase all the pictures that we had taken during the shooting of La Redoute. But also we organized in Paris a discussion with some journalists, with the workers, with the creative directors of La Redoute, where we talked about the collection and what could be the future of fashion too. So that was a way to bring different people at the same table, different people of the industry who are actually not that different and who are actually sharing the same job in some ways. Finally, so this is one of my most one of my favorite project from About a Worker since our start, because our dream when we started About a Worker was not to collaborate first with a French factory or some ethical factory, but it was really to discover what was behind the sweatshop and the sweatshop industry that we criticize all the time. And so we've been invited to take part in an exhibition called Bi-City Biennial of Urbanism and Architecture in Shenzhen. So Shenzhen is one of the most important industrial city in China, especially for textile, garment, and technology. And for the exhibition, we actually stayed for about a month in Bao'an, which is a worker village in Shenzhen, and which was the site of the exhibition. And after the exhibition, the site was about to get deconstructed completely. And you have so many people working there and had to find some other place to go to. But Shenzhen has become so gentrified over these last 10 years that it's becoming extremely hard for the workers of the companies from around to be able to find a place to stay in the future. And for this exhibition, we had the chance to collaborate with 5 former sweatshop workers who now work from home and who work for brands like Levi's, Gap, etc., but from home. Of course, they are paid in black, and it's not the most ethical way to produce, but it's a way for them to be able to sustain within their context too, and it's the only way for them to be able to survive and raise their family. And so when we collaborated with them, it was the first time that we also went to a country without really speaking a language. I'm half Chinese, so I have a couple of basics, but of course, I don't have all the knowledge yet, and I'm still learning. But it was really a way also to understand that design can really be a universal language, and that through design, you're able to communicate a lot through images too. And so for this initiation, after getting to know the workers, we decided to ask the workers to reflect on the transformation of Shenzhen that they had lived over time, because a lot of them came from the countryside and arrived in Shenzhen about 10 years ago. And they've lived really the evolution of it. So through the clothes that they were going to create, we asked them to give us some insight of this transformation. So as in Saint-Denis, we asked them to take pictures of textures and structure of transformation. We also asked them to materialize their vision of Shenzhen through texture and prototypes. But what was really interesting is that it was really for them the first time that they were asked to be creative, and we were really scared of that because before coming to China, we really thought that as they really China is a communist country where we don't ask you to be creative in your daily life either, even outside of work. We thought it was going to be really hard, but actually we never seen a group which was so dedicated to actually go out of their comfort zone. And what was so beautiful by creating this collection is the fact that each of the workers was asked to create two outfits, but actually they all help each other at the end of the day as a collective group. And that was really something, a value that we came back with when we left China, is the fact that it's so important to work as a collective. And this whole collection was created within 10 days as well. So that's some insight of the exhibition where we recreated it, a factory. We also had the chance to have a huge banner. At the beginning, we wanted to put spread workers' voice on the top of the building in Chinese, and of course it got censored. So the only thing we could do was to put our logo, but it said already that it was about the workers, so it was kind of a statement. But yeah, that's also the thing about China, is the fact that when you build up an exhibition, the whole government and people from the government have to understand your work and all the time. And of course, asking workers to become designer can be kind of dangerous. So you kind of have to turn it in their own way too, or turn the story in their own way. But I think it's fantastic that we were able to do this project because we thought that it would be a bit of a utopia in some ways. And finally, I will talk about one of our latest projects, A Labor of Love, with the apron that I have here. So when Lee and Philip asked us to take part in the exhibition, we were super excited to do a sort of new collaboration. And something which is important for us is that, okay, we've done a lot of collaboration with workers, but it's also to discover the new generation of creators and of potential makers. And so over this last year, we've been collaborating with loads of students from school, bringing them to factories, bringing them to discover the factory world. And when we were invited to lead, we were really in touch with this organization called Anti-Fashion. It's an organization which used to be really like more some conference, bringing different actors of the industry together, but now it became more of an association giving some young people the ability to have a fashion education for free and be able to discover the design world, the factory world. And so we've worked with 5 young workers from Anti-Fashion who are also workers at Projet Résilience, which is a factory which opened during the confinement time and where they've been producing millions of masks for France. And so these young people had already this experience of being a worker, but they also had this amazing creative side. And I think we did a 2 weeks collaboration, but we've learned also a lot from them, from their input of the artistic world, from their input on the environmental world as well, which is a necessity for them. And so just before the exhibition, we did a 10 days collaboration with them, where we gave them the opportunity to follow our creative process. We asked them to showcase their vision of Lille, as the project was for lead design. So we wanted to ask them how they felt about their city, about the north of France, etc. And after taking part in this initiation, they all created their own apron. But they also hosted their own workshop, and that was the most important part of the project, is that they were able to create their own initiation for the public. And they decided to create a collective initiation where they had this idea of creating, giving to the public their apron and an apron, and co-creating the apron with them. In order to create their so what they wanted to do was for the public to create their dream apron. And so the public would come, give them an order, draw their dream apron, and the workers, while the public was visiting the exhibition, would be producing the apron for them. And then they would leave the exhibition, either have the apron back in return, either if it would take more time than predicted, they would be sending the apron back to their home. So it was really also during the confinement time, where there are so many restrictions, where there is no physical contact. It was a way to still have a gift and still have a sort of human connection between different people. This is it for today. It was a pleasure to talk with you. We have some new collaboration coming up, so I think the best is to look on our website too. We usually showcase all of our projects, and yeah, I'm open to some questions.
Hey Kim, this is an amazing talk. I think people are enjoying really profoundly, and it leads us away to new collaborations with everybody involved in the process. Actually, it's pretty amazing already as a body of work, because it's not so long you left your graduation. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
enlightening us.
I see lots of compliments coming in the Q&A.
Oh, nice.
But, no one so far has a question, but hopefully they'll reach out to you on Instagram or through your website.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Kim.
you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.